What's up, everyone? I'm Jaren, and today we are talking about Plane. This movie is directed by Jean-Francois Richet, who has done movies like Bloodfather and the 2005 remake of Assault on Precinct 13, and it stars Gerard Butler, Mike Colter, Daniela Pineda, and Tony Goldwyn, as we follow the story of a pilot who is caught in the middle of a war zone after having to forcefully land his commercial aircraft during a terrible storm. Well, everyone, this is the month of January. And for those who have birthdays like mine and actually love going to the movies, it's tough pickings out there. And especially where everyone is trying to catch up on a lot of the Oscar, Academy Award related picks from 2022. And this is just kind of the month where things are supposed to kind of, calm down, and they dump a lot of average or very below average movies where, you might as well just be at home streaming anyway. But in the case of the past, we had a lot of bangers. Some of them were like Scream 2022 or even Bad Boys for Life. Those were movies that were actually surprising. Now, I actually didn't get to see the movie Megan, but I heard good reviews on that as well. And you know what? This, even though it kind of aims for a more conventional and direct to home video product, it aims a little above to be more of a solid, entertaining action thriller. For a movie like this, it plays along the lines between Flight of the Phoenix meets a little bit of Rambo, and there's just something comforting when you know that Gerard Butler is doing another action movie. Like, I love his Fallen trilogy, and I recently saw that Greenland film that he was in a couple years back, and that was great. Like, you could watch any movie with the same premise, but Gerard Butler being in it in a disaster flick, that was wonderful. And especially with this, like a movie of this scale, like I'm actually surprised that they haven't inserted him into the Expendables cast yet. He's the action guy. And I'm actually glad this time around they actually had Gerard Butler keep his Scottish accent for the role, because when I first saw him back in movies like Reign of Fire or even P.S. I Love You, he came off with that Scottish accent. And then, he started doing more American movies. He had the American accent. But I love that they brought him back to that because he just feels more natural, especially when he's like under pressure. And with the exception of him and his character, there is really no character development for the passengers or even the bad guys in this movie. And other than that, we have Mike Colter's character that comes in. He's like the prisoner that really, you're kind of nervous about. You don't know whether he's going to be on one of the good guys' side or he's going to just side with the bad guys, or maybe he's just on his own and making things complicated. But you know what? I love Mike Colter's character that it left more to be desired. I just wish that it wasn't necessarily his fault. It wasn't his performance's fault. It was really the script's fault, because there was just something that I just couldn't completely latch onto. And, having that and then his whole chemistry or dynamic with Gerard Butler's character, it would have been perfect. But once they finally get together, the movie actually starts to pick up, especially with the suspense and the action. And this also goes for Tony Goldwyn's character. He's the guy who is calling all the shots, going through satellite feeds, ordering around the boardroom staff, and eventually getting into communication with our main hero. Anybody could have played the roles of Mike Colter or even Tony Goldwyn, because they're almost like supporting slash plot devices. But they got these guys instead, which I don't mind. But I mean, a little bit of a wasted potential there. And then we have Daniela Pineda, who has done movies like Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, slash Dominion, and then she's also done the Cowboy Bebop live action TV series that was unfortunately canceled on Netflix. And here she's able to showcase her acting chops, which are a lot more on the serious and dramatic tones. And I really think that she's one to keep an eye on, because she's always playing these like brash and comical token characters, but I honestly think that she has a much bright future ahead of her to do more. The villains, on the other hand, I'm just so happy that Filipinos are getting a lot more roles in Hollywood nowadays. Not just the typecasted stuff like Easter Sunday, but I mean, it's kind of nice now and then to see Filipinos in a villainous role. I mean, I think the last time I saw anything like that was Act of Valor, which was pretty interesting. And I know I'm just saying that to be biased because I am Filipino and I do love the film industry. But that's just me. I love to see a little bit of representation. I do have to say though, towards the third act, there is something that happens that kind of washes away all the stakes that we were building towards these villainous characters, and I just felt like, I don't know, things got way too easy as far as the story progressed. One sequence that I highly admired that they took their sweet time in building really tight tension was the plane descent. And between the plane losing power during the thunderstorm and how the passengers and the crew were able to handle that whole situation, I was just at the edge of my seat. My girlfriend claw gripped my arm the entire time, and during that whole entire time I was holding my breath because there was just so much anxiety just building up. It felt like you were on the plane with them. I also admired the camaraderie between Butler and Coulter, and besides the fact that they were working together and sneaking around and kicking ass, I just wish these characters had time to breathe and had a much more colorful dynamic. Whether that would have been something a little more emotional, whether it would be something a little more humorous, or even just sharing history and experiences. There is a character arc that doesn't quite necessarily wrap up properly. Maybe that was their intention. Maybe it's lazy writing. Maybe they forgot him, or maybe there was something at the end credits that I might have missed. But I don't know. I was just left at the end of the movie thinking, what happened to this character? What is going to happen to this character? Is that person going to be okay? Are we going to get a sequel? Overall, this was 100 minutes of nail biting fun. It was nothing outstanding or nothing below average to really write home about, but whether you decide to see this in theaters or wait till streaming, you're guaranteed a wild ride. Alright, guys, that's all I got to share about that movie. Go ahead and click on that like or subscribe button. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Look forward to more reviews. I am Jaren Agbanawag, and I will see you guys at the movies. Take care.
Cause he never risked shit. He hoped and he wished it, but it didn't fall in his lap, so he ain't even here. He pretends that
airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars.